What if the secret to building serious wealth isn't some complex financial wizardry, but actually simpler than learning to parallel park? Most people think building wealth is this impossible, complicated thing that only rich people and financial geniuses can figure out. They picture Wall Street traders, inheritance money, lucky stock picks, or some magical formula that regular people like you and me just don't have access to. But here's the thing that nobody seems to talk about. Building wealth is actually way easier than you think. And I'm not saying this to sound like some motivational poster. I'm saying this because the math is genuinely simple. And once you understand how it actually works, you'll wonder why you were ever stressed about it in the first place. My name is Nick from Money Mindset, and I spend way too much time thinking about money, compound interest, and why most people completely overcomplicate something that's actually pretty straightforward. If you want to understand the real mechanics of wealth building and stop believing that you need some special knowledge or insider access to get ahead financially, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if it helps you see money differently. The biggest lie we tell ourselves about wealth is that it requires some extraordinary effort or stroke of luck, like you've got to be doing something special, something nobody else knows about, something complicated. But the reality is that the barrier between people who build wealth and people who don't isn't knowledge or luck or even income level. It's something much simpler. Consistency. It's showing up and doing the boring stuff month after month while everyone else is looking for a shortcut. Once you understand that wealth building is just a consistency game, everything changes. You stop looking for the magic bullet. You stop waiting for the perfect moment or the perfect investment. You just start doing the thing that works, and you do it consistently until you wake up one day and realize you're actually wealthy. People think wealth building is hard because they compare themselves to billionaires on social media without understanding the actual timeline involved. They see someone worth 100 million and think, how is that even possible? But they don't see the 20 years of grinding that came before the success. They get discouraged and think if they can't become a billionaire in 5 years, why try at all? But that's like watching someone finish a marathon and saying, well, I can't run that fast, so I won't run at all. The distance seems impossible until you break it into chunks. Here's something most people don't realize. Your first dollar is the hardest. Saving your first $1,000 requires discipline, sacrifice, tracking everything. But once you do it, the second $1,000 becomes easier. Not because your income changed, but because your identity changed. You become someone who saves money. Then comes compound interest, one of the most misunderstood but powerful forces in finance. It's exponential growth. It feels slow at first, but then it accelerates. It speeds up so much that one day your investments are making more money than you are. Let's say you invest $500 a month into a diversified index fund at 7% annually. In year one, you put in $6,000 and earn about $300. Not exciting. But by year 10, you've invested $60,000 and have about $80,000. By year 20, you've put in $120,000 but have $230,000. After that, the growth becomes shocking. If you start at age 30 and invest $500 a month until 65, you'll likely have over $1 million, with no special tricks. But here's the part people overlook. You don't need to be rich to feel wealthy. Once you have financial security, like 3 to 6 months of expenses saved, your whole life changes. You stop feeling desperate. You make better decisions. Your stress drops. You sleep better. And you don't need extreme sacrifice to build wealth. Wealthy people aren't drinking one coffee and living on rice. They just make small, consistent optimizations. Keeping a car longer, cooking more, skipping one vacation instead of 2. Slightly better choices over years create massive long-term differences. You also don't need to pick stocks or know anything complicated. Most millionaires simply invest in boring index funds consistently and don't touch them. They don't try to time the market. They don't chase trends. They automate and let time do the work. The principles of wealth never change. Compound interest never changes. Consistency never changes. Once you understand the basics, you're set for life. The first years are the hardest emotionally because you're breaking habits, resisting impulses, delaying gratification. But eventually, saving stops being hard. It becomes automatic, like brushing your teeth. And today, building wealth is easier than ever. $0 brokerage accounts, fractional shares, index funds, automation, online education. The tools that used to be only for rich people are now available to everyone. Your first $100,000 might take 10 to 12 years, but the second $100,000 might take 4. The third might take 3. Eventually, your investments can add $100,000 a year without you lifting a finger. That acceleration is guaranteed if you stay consistent. And the best part, you don't have to be perfect. A good enough plan you stick to will always beat a perfect plan you quit. Wealth building is simple. Save. Invest. Be consistent. Don't panic. Let time multiply your money. That's the whole secret. And once you realize how simple it really is, the biggest barrier, fear, disappears. You don't need permission. You don't need to be rich to start. You just start. Open a brokerage account. Set up automatic contributions. Stick with it. Wealth isn't about excitement. It's about doing the boring thing over and over again. And if you do that, you can build wealth too. It really is that simple.